Alrighty, looks like we have a couple people joining in now. Thank you for joining. As you know, we're a little early, so I just want to give it a few more minutes for others to join the call, and we're going to get started very, very shortly. Thanks so much for joining early, and I really can't wait to just start sharing these tips and, talking with everyone. Alrighty, it's noon, so we're ready to go ahead and get started. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes for more people to join, and then we'll hop right into the content. I really, again, can't wait to share this with everyone. So, thank you again for joining, and yeah, we'll get started pretty soon. Alrighty, it is now a little after 12, and I see that we have more people on the call. So we are going to just dive right on in. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited about this topic because ever since I started my own event planning company a while back, I'd gotten so many questions from people asking me, what it takes to start a company, what tips I have, etc. And I'm just really excited to be able to share some of those today. So without any further ado, we're going to move right along with the presentation. So launch your career in event planning. Alrighty, so first of all, I just want to say welcome again. Please leave a comment. Just let me know your name, like just your first name or maybe a nickname or whatever it is you'd like to leave. Just introduce yourself, in the comments box. Let me know where you're calling from. I am always curious to see, what cities or states people are calling from. And also, please let me know what you want to learn today. I mean, I'm sure there's a specific reason that you joined today, and you're probably in a specific place in your journey of starting, your career in event planning. So I'd like to know what it is you want to get out of today. And if I already have it covered in the presentation, then that's great. And if not, then I'll definitely make sure to answer any questions that you have in the Q&A at the end. So I really want to know what it is you want to get out of this call and make sure that you get it before we leave. So I'm just encouraging you, grab some water, grab a pad and a pencil, because I definitely want to make sure that, you catch everything that we shared today and that you can write it down and refer to it later while, moving forward in your event planning business. And please open your mind to new ideas. I've learned over the years that being open really opens, of course, being open opens new doors, right? But it really helps to see things from a new perspective and really understand how other people are breaking ground. So just please be open to new ideas, because I'm going to be sharing a few of them with you today. Please don't forget to leave a comment in the comments box. Any questions that you have along the way, and also just introduce yourself. So next, I just want to say, you're in the right place. If, let's say, you're a bride, or let's say you're the chair of a fundraiser or something like that, and let's say you're currently working on planning an event, or maybe you've planned an event in the past, and the process of going through it made you say, hey, maybe I could do this as a career. Maybe this is something that I want to pursue moving forward as a career in the industry. Maybe this is something I can do to make money, and I love to do it, so why not? If that's how you feel, then you're absolutely in the right webinar. Or maybe if you just recently started a business, like maybe you just started event planning, but you're kind of struggling to figure out how to even get clients, like how to keep your business alive or how to tell people what it is that you do. This is also a great place to be, because we're going to talk a little bit about that, about how you get your first clients. Maybe you know for sure that you want to be an event planner. Like, this is something you've thought about for a while, but you're looking for ways to learn the ropes of the industry. Like, maybe you don't want to, maybe you've tried helping people with events, but that didn't help you very much. Maybe you didn't get as much of the insider knowledge of the planning up until the wedding day. Maybe you just helped someone on an event day, on the day of a fundraiser, day of a wedding, but you didn't get much insight into how they built up to that point. Or maybe you've heard about all these wedding planning conferences, but they're so expensive. And they're usually in, remote locations that you have to travel to and pay for hotels, etc. And you're just looking for an affordable way to learn the ropes. If that's how you feel, this is, again, a perfect webinar for you too. And also, if you're considering, frankly, if you're considering a career in event planning, or let's say you you already started a career in event planning, either way, you're in the right place. So just one moment. It looks like someone is having trouble joining. So let me just comment to them really briefly. Google Hangouts. I didn't realize it was going to be this much trouble. Alrighty. So let me just double check the comments box, make sure everybody's doing okay. Alrighty, looks like we're doing fine. So, yeah, so moving it right along. So about me, right? Why am I talking to you and who am I? You probably just saw a post on Instagram or on Facebook or something and decided to join. So I want to make sure that you have a little bit of background about me too, so that you understand where I'm coming from with all of the tips. I'm a certified event planner, which is honestly, hard to find in this industry. A lot of people just kind of jump into event planning, but I actually went to school for it and graduated with a certificate from New York University. So that's a little bit about me. The other sort of wacky fact is that I am a computer engineer. So I actually attended the University of Pennsylvania, and I have a bachelor's of science in computer engineering, which is a little weird as an event planner, but I'm going to talk a little bit later about how I combine the two and, how I combine the two just to create something completely new that should be of help to you and even for brides. My weddings or events that I've planned or my business has been featured in a lot of different places. So if you've heard of statuesque events, you heard of it on some of these places or maybe a few other places such as the Knot, specifically the Knot DC, because currently I'm based in Washington, DC and plan events in this area. Forbes as well for some of our events in New York. Wedding Wire, we have reviews on there, but also they have an online journal, and our wedding, one of our weddings from last year was in it. Munolucci Bridal Magazine, I was in their coterie for a pretty long period, and lots of other places, Wedding Chicks, even about.com, I wrote a whole article on how to decorate for the holidays. I mean, we've been in a few other places. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about how, to get your name out there as well. But I also wanted to show that, this is something that I've been able to do as well. Also, I created Virtual Wedding Pro, which is, it's the first of its kind as far as online wedding support systems. Pretty much, we'll talk a little bit more about it later and how you can possibly use it or choose not to use it. It's regardless, I'm giving you a lot of free tips today. So we'll get a little bit more into that later. And the last fun fact about me is that I am a fitness junkie. I work out a lot. I worked out this morning before jumping on this call. And I'm also a pizza addict at the same time. So I guess they kind of cancel each other out to a degree. But yeah, that's just a little bit more about me. And that is also my picture. So here's what you're going to learn today, right? We're going to talk about specific steps that you need to take when getting started. I mean, I know that there are a lot of articles online and, you may be surfing and not getting specific steps to take and not getting specific answers. You get a lot of really vague answers from a lot of these things, or even if you attend wedding events, events catering to event planners and things like that. A lot of times I find that the advice is extremely vague. You kind of get a high level thing, just saying, yeah, target, market, get out there, plan an event, but no one really gives you specific steps to take. So they kind of leave it to you to figure that out. But I'm going to show you, some of the things that I've been able to figure out and get a little bit more specific just to help you move forward. Also, we're going to talk about how to attract your first few clients, which is super important. And I know this is, usually a struggle for a lot of people, how to get their first client or their first few clients. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about how to get the experience that you need to go out on your own. In this industry, confidence is a big thing, making sure that you have the right confidence to really get out there and say, hey, I can plan your event, or I can plan your fundraiser, or whatever it is. I really want to talk about how you can get the experience to build your confidence. And I also want to talk about how to keep in touch with your clients, because, in this industry, people rarely book you the first time that they speak to you. They may see you on social media or even meet you in person or even sit down with you for a consultation, but it's very rare that someone will book you right then. A lot of times, people want to compare rates with other people or take time to think about what service level they really need, etc. So, follow-up is key. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Basically just to help you jumpstart your business and get moving. So yeah, I'm really excited about this content. I mean, I'm pretty much just trying to cover just about everything that you need in order to get moving. In just one moment, I am. All right, I'm just checking in with Google. Looks like we don't have any more complaints or issues, so we should be good to go. Alrighty. So next, I want to just encourage you to stay to the end. This is a 1-hour webinar. I promise you, you will be gone and out of here by 1 p.m. Eastern, by 10 a.m. Pacific. This is going to be a 1-hour webinar, but I do want to encourage you to stay to the end. Again, I'm not going to run over, but you are going to get a lot if you stay to the end. For instance, I'm going to have a live Q&A session where you can ask questions and also learn from other attendees' questions. And with that, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comments box at any time, and I'll make sure that I cover those first once we get to the Q&A session. But again, I'm going to be answering those towards the end, and so definitely you want to stay to the end for that. Also, I have a private Facebook group where, I have brides from all over on it. And, they ask questions, about the wedding planning journey and things like that. And I'll invite you to that just so you can interact with them, see what type of questions people have, what kind of pain points they have, which really should help you with crafting your marketing message and just understanding, what an event customer typically needs. Because while these are brides, I mean, the needs a lot of times are the same as other events. So it really helps you to understand that. And of course, there'll be multiple of you on there, so we can all learn from it. So why am I even doing this training? Like, what's the whole point? Like I mentioned earlier, I've met a lot of people who are considering a career in event planning. I've met people who've been considering a career in event planning for years, for 5, 6, 7 years, just thinking about it and haven't just gotten to it yet, So frankly, I've met people who've been thinking about it for longer than I've been in the industry and for longer than it's taken me to get in, get clients, get reviews, build a name for myself, have a website, be featured on some of those magazines and blogs that I mentioned earlier. And some people are still considering it. So I really want to just say, you can do it and you can start right now. And in a couple of weeks, be ready to go. It can be an iterative process, and it doesn't have to be something that takes you years and years to build. So I'm really trying to empower you, and that's the whole purpose of this training. I wanted a way to share this to as many people as possible, and just get it out there, because I don't feel that very many people are doing this. Very many people are helping other people in the industry and just putting out tips and things like that. So I just wanted to get into that. So that's the whole purpose of this training. And this is a really high level crash course into stuff that you can start with right now. So now it's time to just dive in. The truth of the matter is that you're going to waste too much time and energy trying to figure this out on your own if you don't just follow the steps I'm about to show you. So please pull out that pad and that pen or your tablet or whatever it is you use to take notes, because this is the time to really start writing. These things are not theory. Like I mentioned, these are the principles I use to start my own business. And, just to give you a little insight, I was in my early 20s and just fresh out of college when I started my business. So it's not something that requires a whole bunch of experience, either in age or experience in the events industry or anything. You really just need the drive and the will to learn along the way. And yeah, like I mentioned, I invested frankly a lot to going into New York University, but I'm going to show you some other ways that you can learn the information that you need for how to plan an event for a much more affordable way. But the truth is that you just need the drive, you need the willingness to invest in yourself, and you don't have to invest as much money as you think. You shouldn't have to invest thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm going to show you all those same principles. And the truth is that you can use these principles if you're just getting started, or even if you're just still in the brainstorming phase, if you're just, again, still thinking about if this is something you want to do or not. You can always get started and just kind of have a side gig and, feel it out. And then you can always decide not to do it if you don't want to do it anymore, or you can delve deeper and deeper. It's really up to you. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is the time to pull out the pad and pencil. It's a lot of information. Excuse me, grab my tea. Alrighty, so let's go. So first, is this industry profitable? Is it possible to make money being an event planner? And this, by the way, is a picture of an event I planned in New Jersey. We had a lot of fun. And we also actually did the design as well, the design and decor as well. So what do you think is the average cost of a wedding planner in the United States? Keeping in mind, different costs of living in different areas and things like that. What do you think is the average cost? I'd like to see it in the chat box. Please share it there. And once you share it, I'm going to tell you what the average cost is, and also just compare with a few different states, just to help you understand what it is you could be looking at making per wedding or per event in the United States. Let me just move on over to the chat box. All right, I'm going to give you guys about 40 more seconds to let me know what you think the average cost of a wedding planner is in the US. So basically, I'm asking, what do you think someone makes per event? And I'm really curious to see what your answers are and if they're close or not. Alrighty, looks like we have a shy crowd. Not too many people are really sharing what you think the average cost of a wedding planner is. So sure, I'll go ahead and just tell you. Right now, the average cost of a planner in the United States is $3,200. Actually, it's about $3,223. So on average, people are making that much per event. However, the cost of a wedding planner is relative to the cost of living, just like the cost of most things, is relative to the cost of living in that place. So in certain places in the South, the cost of a wedding planner may be a little less, but in places that are metropolitan cities, such as New York, et cetera, the cost of a wedding planner is way more. So, getting an event planner in the New York City area, I know, is usually more than $5,000. So people are making that much per event. So, you definitely stand to make a good amount of money by getting into this industry, whether you choose to do it full-time or part-time, et cetera. So we'll get back to the broadcast here. So before I get back into it, I am going to throw this question back out there. I'm curious what you want to learn from this call. Be sure to drop as many questions as you want here, because at the end we're going to have a Q&A session. So I really hope you guys are able to navigate over to the comments box and just send me comments now or over the next few minutes as I go through the different specific tips that I have. I just want to make sure, that I answer whatever questions it is that you have and whatever it is that caused you to join the call today. So yeah, excuse me, I just want to make sure this is showing. It appears that alrighty. And also feel free to, ping me if for any reason you are having trouble seeing anything on the screen. I mean, I definitely want to make sure that everyone can see correctly. I see one person's having problems, so I'm just gonna reshare over again just to make sure that everything is showing. And my apologies, Google technology, I guess, is not working perfectly, but we're gonna work through it. So my number one tip is to build a brand. And the truth is that I know there's a lot on the slide right now, and I know that there's a lot out there talking about what it takes to build a brand. I know a lot of people think that you have to hire a really expensive PR agency to do this for you, and it just seems like an incredibly daunting task. But I'm going to be really frank with you and say that these are all things that you can have done by the end of this month. And if you're really aggressive enough, you can even have it done within the next week. The truth is that you just need to get started. Getting started is the hardest part. And, there are a lot of really affordable ways to get each of these things that you need. So for instance, here, the first thing that I have is logo. All right, I see one person's unable to use the chat box. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll show you guys how to use a chat box later. Apologies. So yeah, we need you to build a brand, right? So one is a logo, and a logo doesn't have to be anything crazy, overly involved. I mean, my logo for Statuesque Events, my wedding planning company in the DC area, is an S and an E, and it's a very distinct S and E, and under it just says Statuesque Events, and that's it. It's a very simple brand that I chose, that I wanted. I wanted a very clean and simple brand. But for you may want whatever it is that you want, come up with the colors that you think you want, colors that you think will resonate with people, your name for the business and all those things. And you honestly can have somebody create a logo for you for $5. You can go to fiverr.com, and if you find the right designer, you can find someone to do it for you for $5 or $10 or something really, really affordable. And just to talk about Fiverr for a second, Fiverr is a website where you can get all kinds of graphic design done for you for $5. There's just a lot of people there who say, I'll do this for you for $5, that for you for $5. You can put up a job and say, I need this, and people can pitch it, say they'll do it for $5, $10, maybe $15. But the point is that it's usually very, very affordable. And what people are charging are usually a multiple of 5. You can also go to 99designs.com and have people bid people can bid to basically design whatever it is that you need for you. And then you can pick the winner and pay the winner. So that's another option as well. But the bottom line is that you can get a logo for under $100. Even if you choose to go with other people, etc., you can get a logo pretty affordably. The next thing that you'll definitely need is a website. You need a place to push people to, a place to get your SEO running so that you come up in search results. I mean, you have to have a website in this day and age. And the truth of the matter is that there's no excuse not to have one, because it's so easy to create one. You do not have to understand how to code in HTML. You don't have to hire, a web designer for $400 or whatever it is. You can build it yourself. So you can just buy a domain from GoDaddy or something, and then you can go to Wix.com, Weebly.com, and build a website. All you have to do is just drag and drop whatever pictures you have and things like that to different places, your logo, etc., into whatever template you pick, which there are a whole bunch of free templates available. and just go ahead and get started. My first website was on Weebly.com, and it was super duper easy. I mean, I loved it. I eventually did move to WordPress, which is, I'll admit, is a little bit more advanced. It's an extremely modular platform that lets you do all kinds of things. There are a lot of benefits to it, but it is a lot more involved than using a Wix or a Weebly. So you can determine where you are and how comfortable you are with using either one. But the truth is, I would recommend any. I would just say come up with a simple website. Even a one-page website, if that's all the content you have, is better than nothing. So that's something you absolutely have to have. Next, you definitely need business cards. And the reason you need business cards is for another tip that I'm going to talk about a little later, but it's super important to network with people in your area. And when you're doing that, you have to leave them with something to remember you by. The truth is that not everybody that you give a business card to is going to remember it. Not everybody's going to circle back with you, but it's always a very professional thing to give someone your business card, and then possibly even just to ask for their business card in return, or their email address or something, so that you can contact them. But knowing that you had a business card available to give is priceless. Not having that makes you look a little unprepared. So something that's really, and you have to have it on you at all times. I found a client in the grocery store once who was just talking about weddings, and I told her I planned weddings. If she asked me for a business card, I gave it to her. And later on, she called me, and we moved on from there. So again, you need to have it on you at all times. Vistaprint.com is a great place to get really affordable business cards. I think we've all seen those ads where you can get, I think, 100 business cards for $10. And they do actually have a lot of templates that are easy to work with. So I would recommend them. Print Runners, who I used for my last batch of business cards, they have a lot of options for getting really glossy business cards, which are nice. I have found you can't write on them. So if you want to write notes on business cards, that's not the best option. But I like the glossy business cards, beveled edges and all sorts of other things, although it is a little more expensive. But, at the end of the day, again, these are things you can do for under $100 to enhance your brand. The last thing is social media. I guarantee that every single one of you who found out about this webinar found out about it on social media, not from someone who knows me. You probably don't know anyone who knows me personally, and you found your way to this webinar, right? So that in and of itself tells you the power of social media and why you need to be on it as a business. I personally would not recommend at the beginning stages to hire a social media guy. I know a lot of people who hire a social media guy, and they're so disconnected from what's happening on their social media that it's not even effective. Like, if your social media guy doesn't know that you have a special going on, and then that social media guy can't advertise it for you. If you don't, you need to kind of understand it for yourself. And the truth is that it's not that hard. The best thing that I would say, though, is that start with a platform, master that, and move on to the next one. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to be on everything. That being said, the three that I think are best for the wedding industry are Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, period. There is LinkedIn, but brides typically don't go to LinkedIn to try to plan their wedding. People are trying to get hired on LinkedIn. There's a million other things. There is Snapchat, but you have to be friends with someone first. It's kind of hard to advertise on Snapchat, right? There's also Twitter, and Twitter is also very powerful, to be honest. But Twitter and Instagram both take a lot of time. And today, because of the visual nature of Instagram, I believe that Instagram is more powerful at advertising specifically for weddings than Twitter. But if you can handle doing both, I would certainly recommend it. For right now, I do focus much more on Instagram. And Facebook, literally everyone is on Facebook. My mom is on Facebook. My aunts are on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. So it's very easy to find people on there, especially if you use ads and things like that. So you need to be on Facebook. That's almost a requirement. Pinterest is also great because brides literally plan their weddings on Pinterest. As soon as people get engaged, if they didn't have a Pinterest account before, they create one. And they just sit there and they drag and drop things and drag and drop things. So if the content that they're dragging and dropping happens to be yours, and they know that you're in the local area, that enhances your brand a whole lot. A lot of my clients, when I meet them, and because I also do design, I'll talk about, what is it that you'd like to see? And I ask a lot of questions, and a lot of times they'll just say, hey, you know, everything's on Pinterest. And I'm like, I'm on Pinterest. What's your Pinterest ID? I follow them, and I literally can say, okay, yeah, remember that picture on Pinterest that was purple? Or when we meet in person, we sit on Pinterest, look through what they have, and I can say, okay, I know you like this. I know a place we can get this from. I know a place that we can do that. In order to create this, I think this venue would be best, etc. And, you know, talking through pictures, it's just so powerful. So being on that social media site and just knowing what it is, it's super powerful for your business. So that's why building a brand is important. And building a brand is more than, you know, just taking a class on how to build a brand. I mean, you kind of just have to get into it. You just got to start. I mean, go to Facebook right after this call. See if you're, you know, create it. Create your page. Put a picture up. Put it up. Start by just putting a picture up every day. Trying to put up a picture every day or a status every day. You know, talking about what you're doing, and you'll see that eventually, you know, it's really not that hard. Same thing with Instagram or Pinterest. So the brand is super important. And I hope that I've helped to explain what's so important about it. So now I'm going to pause and just say that, you know, I did get a comment that not everyone is able to, not everybody understands how to make a comment
right after this
on
call.
the video, which, yeah, I just want to make sure I address that. So in the video box, to the left, if you go to the left of the Google Hangout box, there is a blue thing. It says chat. So if you click it, it's like all the way at the top, at least from my view, that just says chat. And if you click that, the chat box to the right pops up, and you can type in there and just let me know, you know, you can let me know pretty much what you're thinking or any comments that you have. So I hope that helps. I hope that everybody's able to see that. I wasn't aware that, you know, you guys weren't able to see that. Alrighty, I see someone's able to do that. Alrighty. So moving on, we talked about the importance of building a brand. And also, if you, for some reason, can't get into the chat box, again, if you just hover over the screen that you're looking at, to the left, there's a blue, almost like speaking thing. What's that called? The speech box. If you hover over it and click it, it'll open the chat box to the right, and you can type there. But if that isn't coming up for you, or if you're having trouble, maybe, you know, I mean, there could be many reasons. Maybe you're on a mobile device or anything. That's all right. And feel free to just email me, reply to any of the emails that I sent to you prior to this, or to just comment on the wall for the event. Because believe it or not, I'm actually reading them. I can see all of your comments, even though I'm presenting, and I'll make sure to reply there as well. So we talked about building a brand, which is super important. Now let's get into more juicy stuff. Next, give it away. This may be really hard to do because when you go into a business, you go into the business hoping to make money, right? Probably not to give it away, but it's super important, especially when you're first starting out, to give away your services, whatever it might be. It might be wedding planning, it might be wedding planning and makeup, maybe wedding planning and design, whatever it is, give it away. But when you give it away, make sure you're giving it away in exchange for something. When I first started my business, I sponsored a whole lot of charity events in the New York City area. At the time, I lived in New York City. And I made sure that in exchange for sponsoring the event, I made sure that I got publicity. You know, I made sure that I was cited on any social media, you know, announcements that were sent out saying thank you to this person, or make sure you know this person's coming. I made sure that on the step and repeat for any red carpets that my logo was on it. So as you can see here, you know, SE, that is Statuesque Events. That's my logo. Very simple, but it's what I like. And over time, people started saying, oh, SC, I've seen this somewhere before. You know, I started giving out my business cards at random events to people, and they'd say, oh, SC, I've seen this before. Yeah, I know you're around. I know you do events. Like after a while, it started clicking. This person does events. This person did that really nice event, that really good fundraiser where they made a lot of money. Yeah, I've seen you before. And over time, it led me to brides. It led me to paying clients. It led me to people who were looking to launch their business. You know, I've done launch events for new brands before, cake business ones. One was for a fashion line. One was for a magazine that was launching, an online magazine. I've done branding events for people as well. And people being able to see that I've done something before is what builds the trust for someone to pay for the same service. So identifying charities that I resonate with, that I really believe in what they're trying to do, and then giving away my services for free was the perfect combination. And the reason for me that identifying with the charity and making sure that, again, it resonated with me was important is that it's a lot of work. And I needed something to fuel me, right? To say, hey, I'm doing this because I believe in what they're doing. For instance, at this event, they were actually raising money for malaria efforts in Africa, to go into impoverished villages and teach them about clean water, to teach them about mosquito nets, and to make sure that there are no senseless deaths over malaria. You know, malaria is a curable disease, but yet so many people die from it. So what can they do to keep people from doing that? And I said, this is an awesome cause. You know, I believe in it. So I can sit with you guys, plan with you guys, and do all this for you for free, but in exchange for advertising, which I made sure I got. I also try to make sure I'm mentioned in the event program, make sure that, again, on all the emails that go out, social media blasts, to say, hey, thank you to so-and-so for joining. And a lot of times they will put the link to my website or whatever, or put my email. And therefore, you know, we would move. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of emails. Yeah, I don't think I'll be using Google Hangout again. I apologize, everyone. I'll be going back to GoToWebinar. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I was mentioned, and from the emails that went out and things like that, clients came back to me. Sometimes people would email the organizers of the whatever charity event it was that I did and say, hey, who was it that did X, Y, and Z for you? And that's how I'd get leads. Or sometimes people would see my website, go there and subscribe to my newsletter, fill out a comments box, etc. And then I would get leads that way. It really just, you know, brought things in. Eventually, I even got hired to do an event by the United Nations Association of Young Professionals, which was great. I mean, great branding for me. But I mean, again, because of things I've done in the past, they were willing to put up money for me to do a charity event for them later. And of course, I charged them a nominal fee because it was still a charity. But, you know, again, of first starting off free and giving it away leads you to getting paid clients later. The next thing is getting the information, right? I think that this may be the biggest struggle a lot of times for people, especially when you're still on the fence, which I noticed that the majority of the people who registered for this event have not started businesses, but are on the fence and are kind of still considering a career. And I find that most people who are still considering a career want to be event planners, but they're on the fence about if they know enough to be an event planner. So getting the information is everything for building your confidence and making sure that, you know, you can plan someone's events and not butcher it, and, you know, build a strong brand for yourself, etc. There are many ways to get the information. And even once you've already gotten into the industry, you honestly need to brush up on trends. Like you should know what's going on, what's new in the industry, what brides like these days, what the newest trends are, etc. So one way is wedding conferences, right? I mean, there are lots of wedding conferences. You know, they can be a little expensive. Wedding conferences can range from a few $100s to thousands of dollars just in registration. And then, you know, unless the conference happens to be in your city, you have to travel to it and then lodge and all those things. But wedding conferences are great, especially just for being around other people who are doing what you're doing. That's a great feeling, just being around other people who are doing what you're doing, bouncing ideas off each other and hearing speakers. I will say that, you know, being a little bit more hands-on can be helpful, but this is great for motivation more than anything else, going to conferences. The next thing is going to wedding classes or floral design classes. I still go to floral design classes all the time. I went to one the other week, which was awesome, just to brush up on my skills on different things about parallel design, radial design, about, taking care of flowers, reminding myself which flowers release sap that's poisonous to other flowers, how to prep the flowers before you set up. I'm sure you never knew there was this much to flowers, but there is. And yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is this is what you do. You have to get in there and just get the information. The floral design class, one singular 1-hour class, cost me $75, which, to be really honest, was not bad. I was totally willing to pay that. But again, you have to put up the money to get information. Just like we pay to go to school, you have to pay a lot of times to get the information that you need. Another great thing to think about is industry magazines. So BizBash. If you don't know about BizBash, please write it in your notes, go to bizbash.com when we are done with this call, subscribe for their newsletter and subscribe for their electronic magazine, because BizBash is the industry magazine. Like, subscribing to, The Knot and all these other things are also nice as well, those magazines are written for brides, right? BizBash is written for event planners. So they talk about new trends. They talk about how to get clients. They talk about, well, they don't really talk about how to get clients, but they talk about new trends. They talk about new venues that are coming out in the industry. There's a guide that comes out every year about the best venues. I will say that, especially when you're starting out, these venues are very expensive, and you may not start out with clients that can afford some of the things that are in that magazine, but it is good just to still know what's going on in the industry, right? And just to see what other people are doing, just to continue to feed your own mind. Again, it's not a school or anything, but it is just a magazine for event planners, which you can get it for free if you get the digital edition. So I would definitely recommend that you do that. The last way is Virtual Wedding Pro for planners. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, but I'm really passionate about my product, Virtual Wedding Pro. And the reason is that, wedding planners, like I mentioned, spend so much money on wedding conferences, floral design classes, etc. It costs so much money to get the information that you need, which causes people to either wing it, which can make it really rough in the beginning, lots of mistakes and things like that, or just put up the money for all of this stuff. And at wedding conferences, you can go to a conference for 2 days, download a whole bunch of information and get inspired and leave, and then say, wait, how do I implement it? Like, where do I start? How long should this take? What should my deadlines be for myself? And just kind of almost be back where you started, even after investing all that money. But Virtual Wedding Pro for planners is an online program where you join a cohort of other planners, and you talk about where you are in your journey. You have a module, you have actually 12 modules that guide you through everything through planning and events. So say you hired your first client recently, we will walk you through what to do for month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, etc., and show you exactly how to do everything. Just talk with you in the modules, even just about in what circumstances is a buffet better, and in what circumstances is a plated meal better. And if you choose a plated meal, how do you organize that so that your food delivery is fast and safe? How do you organize a buffet so that food delivery is fast and safe? How many bartenders do you need, etc.? I mean, we literally walk through every single thing with you. We talk about all kinds of things that you may have never even thought about, that you may not come up with on your own. What kind of licensing, etc., that you need, we walk it through with you. But the bottom line is that whatever you choose, you need to make sure that you get the information, right? So you're equipped, so that you feel confident in saying, yes, I can plan your event. I have the information, etc. Another thing is to offer specials through other vendors, right? You reach out to photographers in your area, or other business owners in your area, and say, hey, I will give anybody who books you a 15% discount, a 30% discount, or whatever on any service that they book from me. So let them know about that. Let your clients know. Like, if they're on a budget, let them know that I'm good, and let them know that they'll get this discount for being your client. And it's also even something that they can pitch, that, hey, I have all these relationships and I can help you out. A venue is also another great one. But whatever you do, just try to start with with vendors that are on the earlier end of the booking process versus those towards the end. And those tend to be photographers, venues, and event planners. A lot of other vendors, you know, sometimes even catering or, well, catering can be somewhere in the middle, sometimes in the beginning, but certain other vendors that people get towards the end of the process, like stationery and other things like that, I wouldn't recommend, because even if they do kind of push you to their clients, a lot of times their clients have already made a decision about what it is they're going to do anyway. Another good idea would be, you know, designers, floral designers and things like that, to partner with them and say, hey, let's partner and your clients will get a discount from me. And they may even offer you a discount, like, hey, yeah, your clients also will get a discount from me. And that builds a relationship to help you getting clients. Finally, this is super, super important. Oh my goodness, I can't stress this enough, particularly for when it comes to the online advertising, defining a niche. You know, the truth of the matter is that if I am maybe Jewish and I'm planning, you know, my wedding, I probably may feel more comfortable with someone who, they don't have to be Jewish, but someone who has planned Jewish weddings in the past, you know, and understands all of the traditions that go into it and understands how to pull them off and plan them well in advance, right? I want to, you know, if I am, say, African and or maybe who else has really huge weddings? Africans and Indians, and, you know, certain cultural weddings where the weddings are huge. I mean, I planned a wedding once that was 750 guests. Nigerian couple, and it was a 2-day wedding. It was huge. You know, I would want to work with someone that has planned an event that is that big. If I'm planning a fundraiser, I want to work with an event planner who knows how to make money at events, who knows how to fundraise, like who understands how to organize an auction. If I want to launch my business, I want to work with someone who understands how to brand an event. So now you understand why having a niche is so important, and being able to communicate that in your website, in your emails, etc., is important. But, you know, also kind of defining that for you. Like I mentioned before, I personally have worked with a lot of different kinds of events, because just because you have a niche doesn't mean you can't leave that niche, right? But the truth is that having a niche means that when people say, hey, I'm looking for this specific type of person, you come to mind easier. Or when people go to Google, they find you easily. When people go to Google and they look for African wedding planner in Washington, D.C., I'm on the first page. I'm one of the first few options because I've planned African events and I've put that in the blog posts that I put up for each of those events. So I come up, right? People think about that. You know, another thing is when people are trying to plan a fundraiser for Africa, I come up because I've done that before. When someone's trying to launch a fashion business, I come up because I've done that before. So, but I did start from one place, which was fundraisers and weddings, and eventually other things branched out. But, you know, you have to start with one thing. Just saying I can do anyone's event is good. It's good to mention that you can do any event, but figure out what your niche is, like what your specialty is going to be. You know, even thinking about doctors, you know, even dermatologists, even something as specific as a dermatologist. There are dermatologists that focus well on hair removal and laser surgery. There's some that even focus on hair surgery for people of color because there are certain challenges with that. You know, understanding that and understanding that that's just thinking about it from that perspective, how people are making more money and getting more clients by having a specific specialization, which increases people's trust in their ability to fulfill their needs. You know, just understanding that is something just to think about. So defining your niche is super important, right? So whether you want it to be a cultural niche, or maybe charity, or maybe weddings, or maybe corporate events, you know, kind of figuring that out is super important. Not being rigid that you can't plan events outside of that, but defining a niche is so powerful. So we've gotten through all that, right? So you got your 5 tips. Define a niche, give it away, build a brand, partner with other event planners, and what was my other tip? And get the information, right? Educate yourself. So what is your end goal, right? Did you join this because you're trying to get over the fear that you don't know enough to run a company in the industry? Or is it that, you know, you want to get started with your business as soon as possible? You know, are you that person that I was talking about who's been sitting on this idea for over a year, for months and months, for years and years maybe? You know, are you still figuring out if you're ready to start a business yet? Like, you don't know if you have the right tools in your arsenal, or maybe, you know, you just needed a secondary method of income, or maybe you just want to transition into being on your own. I mean, what's your end goal? That just think about that, you know, as we go further in this presentation. And why did you show up today? Partially, it might be because you're just fed up with wasting hours and hours searching on the internet for information and not finding it. I mean, Google is amazing, but it does have its limitations, as we've learned today. A few people are having some issues with Google Hangout, but that's all right. We still love them. But there are limitations. You know, the truth of the matter is that people will not go on Google and give you step-by-step instructions for a lot of things that they charge thousands for at a conference. You know, someone's not going to plan this super elaborate conference on how to become an event planner and then turn around and put the information on Google for free. So most of the time, the information that you're finding is surface, and you just spend hours and hours looking for information. You know, you may have joined because you want to start your own company, but you don't want to, you know, invest thousands and thousands of dollars, either because you don't have it or because you don't think that you have to. And the truth is that you don't have to. I chose to go to school, but that was a personal choice. And I don't think that anybody has to invest thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just on education or anything, you know, to get into this industry. Experience trumps everything. And, you know, it's 2015. You can get a lot of the information that you need in online classes, like Virtual Wedding for planners. And it also might be because you're looking for specific actionable steps. You know, I said from the beginning that I'm going to give you actionable steps for you to get started now. So the obvious question is, how do you apply everything that you've learned so far? Like, how do you actually get in and, you know, build the right website? How do you figure out how long it should take you? How do you keep yourself accountable to making sure that this gets done, so you're not just sitting on your hands, right? And how do you get all the information that I just gave you? I gave you a whole lot of information very quickly, very succinctly. You didn't have to sit on Google for 5 hours and Google, you know, and search for stuff. You just got it. So how do you get more information that quickly? So the truth is, you can either take the steps that I've given you and just continue trolling around and, you know, on the internet and, you know, trying to search for everything on your own, or you can use my complete program to get started with your business. So Benjamin Franklin, have to quote him, right? I'm a Quaker, UPenn, woohoo. So tell me and I may forget, and I will forget. Teach me and I may remember, but involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. So everything you do at Virtual Wedding Pro is all about involvement. Like, we want to get you involved. So Virtual Wedding Pro for planners is a solution designed to give you the information that you need, but also guide you through the process of starting your business. We're guiding you through it. We're walking with you through it. And that is the biggest piece that you get here, right? It's not dumping information on you and walking away. We work through it with you. And the fact of the matter is that it's the most affordable way to get the essentials that you need to get started. So what exactly is it? You get access to 12 modules on our membership website, which walk you through the entire process of planning an event. And you can get access to any module at any time. So if you want to rewatch a module, that's fine. If, say, you're planning an event in 3 months, you know, you can watch them. You can watch 4 modules per month, or whatever it is that you need to do to feel prepared. And it also includes 3 group coaching sessions where you can talk with your peers and with myself, where you ask any questions, you talk about whatever boundaries that you're having, roadblocks that you're having in your business process right now, and we figure it out with you. So again, we're walking through it with you. So I can't go too much in depth with each of the modules, but I will just briefly skim through them. So module 1, we talk about how to get started, how to figure out how many guests you're going to have, how to determine your budget, and how to figure out how much money to allocate to each piece of your budget. And we even complete a budget tracker, which suggests how much you should spend on each aspect of your wedding, depending on your overall budget of what you can afford. In module 2, we go in depth of what you need to know. So we talk about what do you need to do with your events? What are your priorities, etc. So we help you determine how to find a venue that meets that. A lot of people think that, you know, hotels are the end all be all, but there's so many other options. I mean, so many other options. And we talk about all kinds of different options here, the pros and the cons, things to think about with each one in this module. And I mean, it's just packed with so much information. It also comes with a site visit checklist to make sure that you ask the right questions during each site visit. And it also comes with a venue comparison worksheet that helps you compare venues side by side and decide which one's right for you. And this is super important because the truth of the matter is that every venue that you attend is going to make you feel like that is the right venue for you. There may not be as upfront about their shortcomings, and they may not give you all the information right there. And they will try to make you book on the first day. So the site visit checklist, make sure that you ask all the questions that you need, and you also, so that you can make the right decision for you. Module 3 is all about catering. Catering is a very, very, very involved topic, particularly when you're trying to save money or you're using different vendors, for serving versus cooking, and you're working with specific types of venues, etc. We talk all about it. We talk about budget. We talk about buffet versus plated meals. We talk about how to manage a bar. We talk about everything here to help you get started. We also talk about what you should do from months 4 to 6. We talk about what to look for in every vendor that you book. What do you need out of your vendors? What you should be looking for to make sure that you get the right services from each one. We talk about how to manage guests. We have a guest list tracker to help you manage RSVPs easily. We talk about how to automatically print mailing labels and place cards and things that you need. We talk about DIY projects, what it takes to successfully DIY, which is a big thing because people like to DIY these days, but there are a lot of DIY faux pas. So we talk a lot about how to DIY successfully in these modules. The legal checklist is mostly for brides, but it's something important to know and to remind clients of if you choose to go into weddings. We talk about the final task, how important it is to remind everybody about their responsibilities to you closer to the wedding, to make sure that you clarify exactly what time people will be there and things like that. We give you a template for building a detailed day of timeline, and it also includes sample data to help you understand, okay, I should do this maybe 2 hours in advance of this. I should make sure that the knife for the cake is already by the cake, before the reception even starts. Little checkpoints like that for any kind of event, it's all included in this sample day of timeline, and you can tweak it according to your times and your specific wedding needs or event needs. In module 12, we talk about what you need on the day of, right? I always have a toolkit that has safety pins in it, it has zip ties in it, it has tape in it, has nail polish in it, scissors, it's got all kinds of stuff. So we talk about what you need for the day of any event and why, and the importance of having that emergency toolbox and how to deal with emergencies on the day of. So Virtual Wedding Pro, we hold you accountable to your progress. We make sure that you're moving through the process. It's also a very straightforward way to get all the info that you need on each topic in an hour or less. Just like here, you've been on this webinar for 1 hour. We get it to you quickly, so you're not wasting too much time learning, and so you can get into actually doing. It's also a personalized service where we walk through the process with you rather than just dumping information on you all at one time, like say a conference or if you buy a book where we just dump information and walk away. We work with you. We ask you questions. You ask us questions throughout the process. So what's it worth? I charge about $4,000 for wedding planning services, and a 1 hour consultation with me is worth $100, sometimes more. And this system is packed with over 40 hours of work. There's a lot in it, a lot of information in it that's given to you very quickly. But you can get all the coaching that you need to get started today for just $99. This service in particular, we usually sell for $450, but I decided to discount it for anyone who joined me on this webinar today. So instead of paying thousands of dollars to attend a conference, or even paying my regular rate of $450 for this service, if you book today, you can get all of this for $99. And you immediately get access to the Virtual Wedding Pro system, but that's not even all. There's more to it. If you book before this webinar ends, I'm going to upgrade you. And you also are going to get 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me where there are no other people on the line, where it's just you and me. We talk through everything that you need. And this by itself is worth what you're paying. But you're going to get not only the coaching, but the modules as well, and the monthly coaching if you book today. You also get unlimited email support for 3 months. So you can always send me a contract. You can always send me a link to your website and say, hey, do you have any tips on how to make this better? You can always ask me questions like, hey, how do you get started on Facebook? Like, no one's liking my stuff. Whatever it is that you want to ask, you can ask for 3 months, which is pretty much all you need really to get started. And again, we're going to be holding you accountable. You only need 3 months to really get started. So I'm going to push you. The other thing is that you also will always have the option to bundle Virtual Wedding Pro in your packages for brides. So Virtual Wedding Pro, the reason I'm offering you Virtual Wedding Pro for planners is that I have Virtual Wedding Pro for brides. And for brides, they can come online and walk through the modules or have modules and have sessions with us, coaching sessions, throughout the process. And the reason this can work for you is that a lot of brides these days, a whole lot of brides these days, just hire a day of coordinators or maybe a month of coordinator or a week of coordinator because they want to cut down on costs. So you can turn around and say, hey, I know you need coaching through the wedding planning process and you may not be able to afford it. Forward me at my full planning price of say $4,000 or whatever it is. How about you hire me as your day of coordinator and you also do Virtual Wedding Pro for planners and I'll offer you everything for $1,500, right? So we take $200 of that to cover the cost of them handling the modules. You also know that they're not going to hand you something that's a complete mess because they've walked through this process, right? And it's also gives you a leg up on the competition because you're offering not just day of coordination, but you're bundling it with them being able to plan their wedding throughout well. And this is something that is just an add-on. You really don't have to use it at all, but I believe that it can be a value add for any of you. And you do have that ability to do that should you take advantage of this program as well. We want to make sure we're working with trusted vendors. So going with this program, working with us, we can offer this to you because we know, we understand what you know. And yeah, so that's another benefit. So in summary, $99, you get 12 modules covering the entire event planning process, access to an exclusive support community that will encourage you and push you through the process. You get 3 group coaching calls and 2 one-on-one coaching calls to help you, keep you accountable, and to answer specific questions that you have. You also get unlimited email support for 3 months to help you through the process. Even I can't believe I'm giving this to you for $99, but hey, I'm taking my own advice and I'm giving it away. So you get all of this to really push you forward for just $99. To take advantage of this, go to www.virtualweddingpro.com/coach to get started. So I'm sending the link out right now as well in the chat box, but you can see it on the screen, www.virtualweddingpro.com/coach. Just go there now and you can take advantage of this. So I'm starting the clock now for 10 minutes, and during that 10 minutes, I'm sorry, this is what you're going to see once you hit there, virtualweddingpro.com/coach, hire a coach by now. I just want to mention this is a sub-business of Statuesque Events LLC, so this is what you're going to see once you hit PayPal. It's not a bug. That's what you're supposed to see, and it will be for $99. This is for a different service, the screenshot, but it will be $99 through PayPal, and the time starts now. So time starts now. Excuse me. Alrighty. So sorry, I had a little issue there. But yeah, you have 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, I'm going to answer any questions that you may have. Actually, I'm going to shrink this to 5 minutes because I already see that we have a couple of questions and I think we can do that quickly. And I don't want to hold you guys on the call for too long. So let's see what questions I'm getting. Well, one person is asking, is there a code that I need to pay the $99? No. Actually, if you go to this link, virtualweddingpro.com/coach, it will show up for $99. And let me just reply. Okay, so people are buying. Excuse me, just trying to reply and clarify questions for people. The next question that I see is, okay, let me just make sure I understand. All right, I am an aspiring wedding planner and I would like more information on what I can do to be more confident as I start on this journey. Okay, so one big thing that builds confidence, again, is hiring a coach or having a mentor, right? Which is the whole purpose of what I'm selling right now. But in addition to that, I think that you do have to dive a little bit deep, right? There's you just kind of have to understand yourself and also understand other people who started businesses. I was very transparent, and I mentioned from the beginning that when I started my business, I was in my early 20s. I was 22 years old, starting a business and trying to plan weddings for people who are older than me. It took a whole lot of confidence, and I had to really just sit back and say, okay, am I trying to do something that's impossible? I thought about it and I said no. And the reason that I knew it wasn't impossible is that lots of people do it around me. I mean, some of the largest companies in the world were started by young people who had absolutely no work experience, period, talk less of experience in what it was that they were trying to build. Facebook, Microsoft, etc. I mean, there are so many companies that you can think of where people got into it purely based on passion and put in the effort and the energy sitting at home, you know, building a website, building awareness, and really building a brand that at the end of the day helps people, you know. So building confidence, a lot of times you just have to take the time out to just, you know, you really just gotta, you know, you really just have to dig deep and say, I can do this, you know, which is what I've been trying to tell you guys this entire call. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Okay. That is why this program is 3 months, because at the end of 3 months, you need to be done. I don't want to give you an unlimited program that lets you drag it out forever. No, just go ahead, get in and do it. You know, when I started my business, I had experience helping with events, but I had experience planning little events on my own, but you know, I was able to just still just say, I want to do this every day after, you know, the time, my day job, I would come home, take a deep breath, drink a cup of tea, get on my laptop and just work, you know? And then some days I would say, today I'm not working, today I'm watching whatever, Family Guy, something funny, but just pacing yourself, working hard, understanding that sometimes things are going to go wrong and that's fine. You know, I mean, you do have to center yourself. I personally am a person of faith. I'm a Christian. That helps me a lot. Whatever faith you have to center yourself in that and just say, okay, you know what? I can do this, and figure out how to convince yourself of that. I mean, it's a big part of this too. It's not just the technical. That's a big part of it as well. I really hope that helps you. All right, let me just look at my chat box. All right, see a lot of purchases. Thank you. All right, I'm so excited that so many of you guys are signing up. I cannot wait to see you guys in our group sessions when we dive deep and build your businesses. I cannot wait. All right, so another question is, let me scroll. How, oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, how do you deal with complicated clients? Okay, yeah, this is a people management problem, and I think the truth is that this goes well beyond this goes all beyond the events industry. You will always have complicated clients, no matter what you're going to do. I think sometimes just taking a deep breath is a good start, especially if you're a hothead. Just take a deep breath before you respond. You know. Also, one thing that I always have to remind myself about this industry is that it's so expensive. I mean, as much as, you know, it's so expensive, and it's expensive for a good reason. Being a wedding planner is a lot of work, which is why it's expensive. It takes a lot of hands, but it's expensive. You know, let's say I'm a bride and I'm spending $60,000 on my wedding, which is a lot of money, but in a place like New York City or Maryland, that's about average, or in certain places like New York City, that's even below the average of what people spend on a wedding. So you may still find yourself kind of penny pinching, working with them, and it's frustrating. You know, you're putting so much money towards something, and you're not getting, you may not be able to get every single thing that you've envisioned in your head, or everything may not be going as perfectly and smoothly. So you just have to understand their frustration and sit in their shoes. Frankly, even for a charity event, it's the same thing. You know, let's say you're spending $10,000, but it took you so much effort to raise that, to come up with, and you want to make money off of your expenditures, it's a very stressful situation. You need to understand where the other people are coming from. Once you understand that and you can really put yourself in those shoes, it pushes you right through the stress, because you really empathize and you're like, okay, I understand your frustration. Don't worry, we're going to take care of it. We're going to work as hard as we can on this, you know. So here I see, do you think I should be certified to be an event planner? There's a college in my area offering a certification course for the summer. I'm considering taking that course. Well, here I have to say that this is frankly going to be a personal decision. Like I said, I decided to become certified, but that was a personal decision for me, largely because of my age at the time. I wanted to make sure that I had something to say, hey, I know what I'm doing, you know? But looking back on it, I didn't even need that to get started. I don't regret it though, because I learned a lot from that, and it's building. It really helped me with my confidence with a lot of things, even up to this point, you know, where I'm coaching other event planners. So it's really given me a lot. But you know, even beyond that, I think more than anything, it's a personal decision. Number one, can you afford it? You know, I don't know what this certification program is costing, but can you afford to pay it? You know, at the end of it, understanding that an event planner certification is exactly that. It's an event planner certification. It's not going to teach you how to build a website, this, that, and the third. So are you willing to also put in the effort to finish that certification and also build your business? Because I was doing both at the same time, at the time that I went through my certification, because both are really important. There's no point in getting certified and then still not having a business. So you need to do both. The last thing is, you know, you need to, I mean, I think it's a personal decision. Lots of people out there have very successful companies and they did not get certified, but I just have the personal mindset that if there's things to be learned out there, let me learn it, you know, and especially if I can afford it. So that was why I chose to do it, but I don't think it's necessary to become an event planner. It can help, but even then I will say that it helped a little bit with my marketing, saying, hey, I'm a certified event planner. But the truth of the matter is that most people hiring event planners, they don't always care. They're not always like, I want an event planner who's certified. No, they want an event planner that they can afford and that they know is going to deliver. So I think that you can do it, but it needs to be a personal reason. It shouldn't be just, I believe that if I do this, I'm going to get more clients, because that by itself may not necessarily pan out exactly that way. I really hope that helps, and I hope that made sense. If not, you can always ping me again, and you know, we can talk more about it. Although I see you've signed up for our program anyway, so we'll be talking more as time goes on. The last thing is, yeah, I mean, we've got 42 seconds left for you to purchase and take advantage of our deal. I really hope that you will, if you haven't already. Yeah, so that being said, I mean, the time is almost up. We've got 26 seconds left. I want to thank everybody who asked the question. I think we're at the end of our questions list. And I want to thank everybody who joined, whether you purchased or not. I mean, to be really frank, like I said, I'm passionate about this, so it's not only about you buying. I really hope you learned something here. And yeah, it's beeping. We're almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bang. All right, we're done. We're done here. So last slide, win a free consultation. So I am offering free consultations to people who ask questions. So let me look through the list, and I'm going to randomly select someone. I pick, sorry, still pulling up the list. I hope I say this right. Lori Dorviller. Lori Dorviller. Yes, you want our free consultation. I haven't checked. I know we got a bunch of purchases. I haven't checked if you also already purchased our program, but if you have, then now you will have 3 one-on-one consultations. But we're going to have one before the program even starts, your free consultations before the program starts. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're at the end of the program. My apologies, we ran over a little bit, but we also started a little late because I didn't want to start until everyone was on. So it was still about an hour, but I really, 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 really want to thank you for joining. Thank you for their comments. Thank you for everything. Please email me if you have any questions that you wanted to ask that you didn't get to ask on the call. I really don't mind answering them then too. And I really don't mind. Just send it and I'll just reply with an answer. You are all subscribed to my newsletter, so I will be sending a newsletter once a month with tips on building your business as well, and also with information on other products that you can purchase, if you didn't purchase today, or, just to keep you in the know, or maybe if you weren't ready to start your company, etc. So there will be more coming, but thank you so much for joining. Please tell your friends about us, and I cannot wait to start working with you. Oh yeah, Lori D. Yep, you're the one who won. So congratulations. Alrighty, thanks so much, everyone. Have an awesome rest of your day. You guys made my day. Have an awesome rest of your day. And good luck with your businesses. For those of you who purchase, we will see you on the group coaching calls. I'll be sending you information about those very shortly. Thank you.